Hello, there we go. So sorry, everybody there. It has been a little bit, a little bit of an error show this morning, at the very least for me and my co-caster at the moment. I, of course, am Briefcase. So sorry about the audio issues coming up early there and the 1 minute of downtime. So don't worry too much. Don't panic, everybody. Everyone's stream is back up in like 30 seconds. So sorry everybody, but of course I am Briefcase, bringing you the ESPL Weekly Series number 6. We are none too far away from getting to that main event where we have Cloud9 and Sigma Gaming coming to battle it out for at least, I want to say, $8,000. That prize pool is getting up there and up there because of all of you lovelies buying those tickets and couriers, obviously. And for anybody who usually does tune in or knows anything about this, usually I have a lovely co-caster named Mito to help guide my decisions and my voice and point me in the right direction, but no such luck today. Not too sure where he is, and without a dedicated co-caster waiting in the wings, this is going to be at least one solo cast today, and hopefully that'll be the only one. But I digress. Let's get right into it. Obviously, Extreme Gaming, for anybody who doesn't know, they are Motivation, or at the very least, as the people I know as Motivation. SNA+4 is actually Wild Witch Doctor, as you will obviously be able to tell since IX Mike is on there. But right off the bat, looks like Extreme Gaming banning out the Ember Spirit, which just, I didn't want to say sickens me, but really hurts me. All I want to do is see these new heroes that get into Captain's Mode get played as much as possible, just to see how they play out. But it looks like a lot of people just not wanting to let them through, a lot of teams not wanting to let them through whatsoever. And already, right off the bat, obviously, Extreme Gaming with a very, very strong lineup, just in its ability to push Nature's Prophet and Visage. Combine that with a Luna can be quite scary, especially into the late game at taking towers. But of course, SNA+4, I've seen them basically run Nyx Assassin Storm Spirit every single game I've ever seen them play, and it has always panned out for them. It's usually Ush on Storm Spirit in the mid, and in my experience, no matter who he's up against, he always has a terrific time there. As far as the other picks are concerned, obviously, Disruptor can really stop Nature's Prophet from going in and helping out on a lot of ganks. If Disruptor's ever there, a simple glimpse back from onto Nature's Prophet will stop him from ever aiding in that. So, I mean, a nice little pickup there in and of himself. Also, just one of my favorite heroes, I have to say. With Static Storm, if we can see an Ags on this Disruptor, that gigantic area of basically Doom, ooh, that's all I want to see. And now, one thing I always want to bring to people's attention is whenever you have Storm Spirit on your lineup, and I suppose to a lesser degree Timbersaw, at the very least, now with Timbersaw's recent, or I shouldn't say recent, but a little while ago nerf where he can actually get stunned out of things, you do really want to see if the opposing lineup has any hard and fast stuns. And really, you have Luna with Lucent Beam. That's got a small little mini stun on it. Not so bad there by any means. Visage has some familiars, but that's not going to be too great. It's not targeted, obviously. So you just need to think, are Storm Spirit and Timbersaw ever going to be able to get killed? Obviously, Timbersaw, there's going to be a lot of bursts coming out of Extreme Gaming, so he might have a hard time, but Storm Spirit is just one of those heroes that if you cannot lock down, you're going to have an incredibly difficult time actually taking him out. And with the lineup that Extreme Gaming is running right now, though it is pretty punchy, obviously, you have that Soul Assumption Cannon coming out of Visage. You have Templar Assassin with that big physical burst. They're well poised to take some easy Roches if they want to, especially with that Luna Aura and Templar Assassin doing his bit. Her bit, I suppose. But I mean, I just don't know if they're ever going to be able to lock down Storm Spirit. Nyx Assassin obviously has a nice bit of lockdown himself, and now a Slardar, just a lot of stuns, a lot of strong abilities coming out of SNA. And not only that, but despite Disruptor, a very hard team to actually take out, very difficult to actually deal with. And I mean, unless you get some nice stuns, Timbersaw going to be really hard to deal with. Storm Spirit going to be able to zip out of there entirely. Doom is obviously not on the field anymore, was banned out. That's obviously who you want to ban out if you have a Storm Spirit or a Timbersaw. The lineup would just scream for a Doom from Extreme Gaming at this moment, but not going to be the case. And pardon me if you ever hear me sipping water. I don't have a co-caster to just throw the scene to, throw the mic to, and let them do their thing, so it's going to have to be at least a lot of non-stop talking. And now Enigma, actually, of all things, being picked up by Extreme Gaming, by Motivation there. And I don't know how I feel about this pick. Obviously, he has that Maleface, which is going to help get the Storm Spirit, going to help get the Timbersaw and make sure that he can't run away. But Enigma's one of those heroes where you really do pick him for his ultimate, and right now, I do not see a good way to get that off consistently in any single team fight. If you don't get Nyx Assassin, then he's simply going to spike Carapace, run into your ult, and then it's done. Or he'll be around it, he'll just impale you, boom, your ultimate is done. Storm Spirit has pull, Disruptor has glimpse, as well as Static Storm, and if you don't get him, you know that Static Storm, it's an instant cast, it's immediately going to go straight down onto Enigma and basically screw up any sort of plan he has there. Timbersaw obviously can't do too much. Slardar might be able to get him, but nonetheless, I mean, it is a very, very odd pickup as far as a hero is concerned in this lineup. Obviously gives a small amount of lockdown, but I mean, if you're gonna go for Enigma here, why not get something where you will have a higher likelihood of actually getting a stun off? Get something like a Levy, get something else with just a big ult, like maybe Warlock. His obviously goes through BKB as well. If you're just looking for one big stun, and Enigma, really, he's just not going to cut it unless he gets big 5-man black holes, and that's probably not going to be happen against Sna +4, also known as Wild Witch Doctors. But we'll see how it goes nonetheless. I guess we'll take this little game paused opportunity to exactly. Zash can go masturbate, so that's not so bad. But I'll get into who's actually playing who. We're going to be having Chopper as the Templar Assassin. Team, let me win, I beg you. Gonna be this Visage. Borko. Ooh, Borko Norris. Gonna be this Enigma right there. Tagulder as the Luna. And it looks like we're gonna have Luffy Dota as the Nature's Prophet. Over on Wild Witch Doctors, of course. Save the orange hero there. Looks like we're gonna have IX Mike on the Timbersaw. And of course that orange hero is gonna be Ush, and it's gonna be on the Storm Spirit. We're gonna have Bry on the Disruptor. Seven Nevis, or Sieves Neves as I called him last time. Not too sure what I'm gonna call him this time. As the Slardar, and it looks like we're gonna have Sna as this Nyx Assassin over here on the Radiant side. And really, when it comes down to it, I am just not too sure what Motivation is gonna be able to try and pull off with this lineup. Obviously, you have some good team fight once Enigma is level 6 and has Black Hole, but like I was saying, so many of these heroes on Sna basically just counter Black Hole outright. Especially Nyx Assassin. Running in with a spiked Carapace is basically going to be enough to let Sna +4 win every single team fight, and I'm just not too sure why EXG picked up that hero. Obviously, they do have some alright pushing potential. Overall, you have Visage, who's got the familiars. You combine that with Luna's Aura, the Eidolons out of Enigma, and Nature's Prophet Trance, and you do have a pretty strong pushing lineup, so you might be able to take some early towers into that mid game, try and get some good map dominance in that way. But Sna +4, their lineup is just, I don't want to say perfectly suited to ganking, but much better at ganking than EXG's is in this entire game. And I mean, you can just see that in Ush, who is just a little hat right now with some hands. Not too sure what's going on there, but which is Ush, who obviously just Storm Spirits around, has a great time. You combine that with a Nyx Assassin, and if Sieves, Neves, or IX Mike is ever there, not to mention a Bry, if he just wants to throw down kinetic field, he wants to throw down a glimpse to get somebody back, it's just going to be so difficult for EXG to actually live through anything. And of course, if Bry can actually time those glimpses perfectly on a Nature's Prophet, you can stop him from TPing, and you can actually bring him all the way back You just have to be absolutely perfect on that timing there. But let's look at those last hits, and of course, doesn't look like we're gonna have too much funniness coming out of SNA +4 early on or anything like that. But we do have that level 1 Roche coming out of EXG. Look at this pocket strat, and clearly that is what they wanted. Those Eidolons being used along with the Trents. Oh, is it not? My voice is not coming up in Dota TV. Folks, what do you think of that? Well, nonetheless, it looks like EXG gonna be able to get this level 1 Roche fairly easily for themselves. Let me just adjust my audio settings while all of that happens. Enable open mic, enable it. Open mic threshold doesn't even affect it. Oh, I have one line, but that's about it, so not too bad. And I guess for this one, unfortunately, we're just gonna have to deal, or at the very least, the Dota talks. I'll do it in the pauses, but a little too much happening, obviously. Roshan going the way of EXG there. It looks like it was only 4 people there to pick up that experience. Or no, not at all. It just actually gives so much. It's 2.5 levels. I thought it was only everybody gets to just about 2, but look at me. I am corrected, obviously, there. So sorry to everybody at Dota Talk, or on Dota TV who is tuning in that way. But I will try to fix during the pauses. In the meantime, so sorry about this, everybody. It looks like we have been running into some audio issues, but we'll see how it pans out. And already, I mean, off the bat, you do have EXG coming out to a lead because of that Roshan kill. And as far as this mid goes, however, Ush, I have just seen him dominate this lane against some of the most unexpected adversaries, so he should be having a pretty good time here as well, I would suspect. In my experience, usually gets overload, pretty much maxes that exclusively, and he is just so good at controlling when he gets these last hits, when he when he really wants to use that remnant to get them as well. And if you look at it, as you can see, he's already at 7 last hits compared to Chopper's 1, and obviously some of those are because this is finally just getting underneath the tower, but Ush, such an experience. We do have an engagement up top, however, and it looks like Bry actually going to fall to that Soul Assumption Cannon coming out to Gulder, trying his very best. He has one more Lucent Beam, not too sure if they're going to actually use it, and it doesn't look like they were, but they will continue to just pester him out of lane. Orko Norris has picked up a Soul Ring, going to make jungling all the easier for him, and now there is a pause because we have this Disruptor who has just disconnected, so I'll just leave this here, and I'll just go to my audio settings, see if we can't find anything to fix it all up. But, I mean, right now, I have my enable mic going on, enable open mic, it's on, but now we're right back into the game, it looks like. Oh, now I just feel so bad for everybody, or at the very least, for mine. I'll have to restart Dota when we get out of here, but until then, it looks like EXG actually leading this fairly nicely right now. You have Nature's Prophet going tit for tat against IX Mike on the bot lane, actually winning it outright, but of course Timbersaw against Nature's Prophet, you're never going to be able to kill Timbersaw, and he can actually go for a kill as soon as he gets level 3. Just needs Timber Chain to close the gap on Luffy Dota. Now IX Mike actually taking a lot of damage, but that reactive armor, now with 2 points in it, there is 0 chance, and they have gone for that slightly more conservative build, or at least he has, to make sure that he doesn't explode in this lane, or even from any ganks. With reactive armor, with 2 points in it, there's just almost nothing you can do. We do now possibly have Borko doing whatever he can, seeing if he just can't maybe pester SNA out of this rune spot, but that is not really gonna matter anyway. Storm Spirit gonna be able to control those runes fairly nicely against TA, at the very least until she hits level 6, and she's actually a little bit ahead of Ush as far as the experience goes, but Ush just commanding this lane as far as last hits are concerned. 15 to 11, same amount of denies, however now Ush getting quite a bit of damage taken right there. Looks like Chopper, of course, can be pretty ballsy here as well. Has that Aegis, which you can't discount. It's basically a regen rune when it comes right down to it, because you can just play however you want in the lane, and you can take those hits, you can make those plays and try and make some stuff happen, but nothing too much. As far as this try is concerned, it looks like they're trying to go right onto SNA once again. No stun coming out of him, of course. There's a nice stun on 2. Might be enough to actually save him. Soul Assumption is going to fly and will indeed land on him. That cannon of an ability, just so strong early on, and with level 2 Soul Assumption, that can do quite a bit of damage right there, so just absolutely terrifying to deal with. and obviously playing out quite well for them. So, I mean, I guess they do have a chance. It's gonna, I think, play down into this mid-game, though, and can Borko get anything that makes it so that he has a really good time with these black holes? If they can get an early BKB and Blink onto Borko, he's gonna have a much easier time setting up those black holes. His life is gonna be so much better than SNA's, and, I mean, if we look at this already, right off the bat, it's looking not too bad at all for EXG, and, I mean, they got a shot, I feel. We'll see exactly how it pans out, however. I mean, obviously now Chopper, he's got this Aegis, he can be as ballsy as he wants, might want to actually use it up in a little bit of time. Once again, Disruptor being disconnected from the game, and just really unfortunate, it looks like, for SNA +4. Not the best of times by any means, and I'm still so sorry for all of those Dota TV viewers who can't hear my voice. I know it's a problem. I know I want to fix it, but I can't unplug my microphone right now. It'll screw up the entire stream. It has before, always does. So we'll see for next game, and really unfortunate, but it's just gonna be that, have to be the way it plays out today. Oh well. And now it looks like obviously we have Borko up there. They do indeed know that he's coming, though. Everybody's just playing pretty defensively far back into the lane. And now if you look at this mid, Chopper's still continuing to do quite a bit of damage onto Storm Spirit, but he is now, it looks like he's just bottle crowing to make sure that he can continue and withstand in this lane. Still fairly even in the mid lane, though. Chopper really has brought it back for his troubles. As far as this top lane is concerned, however, you have 15 last hits against 16. Would have thought that Luna would be doing a little bit better, but it doesn't really matter when you've been a part of a couple kills, so not too bad. And now it looks like we have an engagement going on. They're going to be able to try and take out Sieve's knees, but it's just not going to happen. And as that happens, I miss a courier kill, and it looks like Ush, who did just get 6, ball lightnings in to get that courier kill, and just ball lightnings right out of there. Looks like Luffy not going to be able to find any kill there, even though he blinks in. And that's going to let IX Mike get a little bit of farm, more experience, but he's still just winning this lane fairly nicely. And of course, when you're Nature's Prophet, there's nothing you can do against a Timbersaw. You can't even sprout him to try and get additional pot shots, and it just doesn't work. SNA now trying to get a stun, does indeed get it on Chopper, but refraction going to be far too much. Ush, of course, cannot follow up. There just doesn't seem to be anything there. And now that Timbersaw has these mana boots, you just have to be so careful as a Nature's Prophet. He's not going to be getting too much out of this one at all. Now it looks like Sieve's Knees a little bit too far forward indeed. Where's those stuns? And there they are indeed. Eclipse used as well. Galder wants to get within range of Bri, but of course that Eclipse just falling a bit short. Now SNA is here. He wants to get a stun on as many as possible. Can only get it on on Team Let Me Win, and now it looks like Bri trying his very best to run away, but a Soul Assumption is there to follow up. Borko actually salving up quite nicely. SNA now in a heap of trouble, doesn't have quite enough for any spike carapace, but you have IX Mike TPing in, seeing if he can't help around. Those Eidolons, they are just going to be man-moding this, doing a huge amount of damage. Of course, not going to be doing too much to IX Mike with that reactive armor, obviously, so Timbersaw does clean up a little bit. As that's happening, it looks like you have Sieve's Knees. He has gotten back into the fray, but looks like Luffy and Team Let Me Win able to get themselves out of there pretty much scot-free. When everything is said and done, EXG with 4 kills compared to SNA's simply 1 opens up the mid lane a little bit for Chopper to get some more farm. Ush has actually gone down to the bot lane. He's got a double damage reinforce troubles, and will probably just be getting a little bit of pot shot damage onto this tower. But if we look at this ooh, excuse me, if we look at this net worth, that's the one. We do see that EXG's Roshan kill and the early kills just going the way of them are still making them lead ever so slightly, but of course that small of a lead doesn't mean too much even this early on. But they want to continue up, taking that early Roche, making sure that they command the Roche pit every single time he's up. They've just picked up that medallion on Visage. They obviously have Meld available on Templar Assassin and all of the summons you could ever want to tank and do damage to that Roshan. So, I mean, that just seems to be the name of the game for EXG there, really, is command the Roche pit, make sure that you have Borko Norris getting a good amount of farm, because he really does need a BKB to be at all relevant into the mid and late game. And of course, as I say that, you have Ush and Sieve's Knees getting in there, making sure that Visage can't do too much, and that medallion not going to be able to help him too much once he's getting ganked, obviously, and so sorry, everybody, for missing that. Oh, it's a little bit scattered this morning, I have to say. Eidolons now have been found by IX Mike, and it looks like he has found his place here. He doesn't even really care that he's getting pot-shotted. He has reactive armor at level 2, going to be doing fine right there. Looks like Storm Spirit able to pick up a regen, and now you need to be very careful pretty much no matter where you are, anywhere on the map, if you're going to be up against a Storm Spirit with a regen currently going, but doesn't actually use it to gank, just uses it to see if he can't regen back up a little bit and farm however much he can. Storm Spirit, of course, going for that classic, very classic Orchid build, which, of course, is only going to stop Borko even more from getting any big black holes. As that's happening, looks like we have a TP going in onto Snot. There is... he can need a tree to get out of this. Does indeed. Already used Spike Care Pairs. Nice stun on 2. That Soul Assumption, they just need vision, and then they gotta pop it, and that, oh, almost is it, but actually lives through it. Now the TP is coming in. IX Mike trying to see what he can do, but of course Ush finds a Borko Norris, and this is really gonna eat in to him getting a Blink Dagger early, really eat in to him getting any sort of BKB in a timely fashion. Brian now trying to do what he can. Actually finds a team let me win, sticks them into a kinetic field, can't really do too much, and now looks like IX Mike absolutely cleaning up the familiars, not able to save him there, it would appear. Now Chopper chasing down IX Mike, but of course Timber Chain, you just can't catch Spider-Man when he is moving around like that. Tagalder, though, does have some space up top. We have a TP coming in from Luffy just to try and make sure that this tower gets some damage on it. Probably at the very least they want it to fall. And this is some nice play at the very least coming out of EXG. You do have Wild Witch Doctors who have equalized everything up, and no deny going to that top tower by any means. But if you're playing as EXG and you see that the mid is getting destroyed and you've lost quite a few heroes, you need to really make sure that you give up absolutely nothing for free. And this is something that you see not too much in pub games. You just say, oh, this fight went horribly, and that's it. But of course in these higher level games, this crisper amount of play, you see a team fight not go your way and you have to think, what else can I get out of the map? Because that one obviously didn't pan out too well. And now Chopper actually should be really careful here. Refraction can get eaten up by these little melee creeps fairly well. It looks like SNA has just been giving as much root control as humanly possible. Roshan just appears, and now looks like SNA knows it, so he's going to be at least stalking this a little bit. Steve's Neves trying his very best just to get some pot shots, and he's actually pretty much going to get this tower for free along with Ush. Looks like we have a smoke gank coming out of EXG onto Bry right now. Not too sure what he can do. A kinetic field probably won't be enough. Soul Assumption does indeed fall. Luffy with the TP in as well, but now TP in coming in from IX Mike, but an Eclipse is there, and that is just going to do so much damage to him. Of course, reactive armor not doing a single thing against magic damage. Now we have another TP coming in. Who is it? It's Orange, obviously. Ush it is, and he's got a double damage rune. Need to be so careful here. Norris, though, he's still got Black Hole available. Hasn't been used yet, and Nyx Assassin is so far away. Nothing too much going to be happening there. It looks like we now have Steve's Neves coming in here, trying to see if they can't find a Chopper, but with these traps just lining his path backwards, there's no way they're ever going to be able to catch him there. And now, looks like he's picked up his drums. Going to be that much harder to catch now as well. Steve's Neves with Sprint, of course, recently buffed. Very nice. You pretty much never need mana items on Slardar anymore, which really helps him. He's always been quite mana starved as far as a hero is concerned. Whew. Oh, excuse me for everybody in the chat who is asking, who is Wild Witch Doctors? It is indeed Sna +4. Don't worry, your items are safe. They're actually a little bit behind right now, but I think they could take it back. We'll see how it goes. Familiars. Ooh, can't quite find him in time. Now going to be dropping, but there is one little bit of damage coming out. They might be able to get him. Obviously, he can resummon, but a little bit of a waste, it would appear, and just going to be able to get out of there, obviously. Right, the rune control coming out of Wild Witch Doctors has just been tremendous here as well. Now it looks like Luna has gotten a single point into Moon Glaives as well. No stacking actually going on, oddly enough, for them. And the Roshan is up. They really do need to find either a pick-off right now and turn it into a Roche, because they don't actually need these towers too badly. They really just need some big core items available, and you need to be so scared if you are EXG up here now. They do have a TP coming in from Chopper. Not too sure what's going to be happening. Can't find anybody to mail face. Sna is there, though. They don't want to use Black Hole just yet. They want to make sure that Spike Carapace is down. IX Mike in a bit of trouble, actually. And just absolutely melts. Completely caught out. Not in the right position at all. And those Eidolons actually doing a little bit more than you'd normally expect. Sna now getting chased down by Chopper. It now looks like Chopper being way too ballsy, though. Refraction going to be doing a lot, and of course you cannot meld invisible when you have that on. Nothing they can do. Refraction is now available as well. Nice little TP by Luffy, though, to try and make sure that they don't get out of here. Sna taking quite a bit of damage. Not going to be enough. And of course, 7 Neves, one of those heroes, or I should say Slaughter, just one of those heroes that's absolutely terrific at doing a huge amount of burst damage early on as that was all happening. It looks like Luna lost his life actually to Ush there, I want to say, so not doing too bad. Ush, yeah, he's actually not getting the fastest Orchid by any means, but Norris, he's got that mech now. It's not too quickly, but it's not too bad by any means now. They have a mech. Don't think actually. Let me see those items right now. Any mech or anything close to it on Sna +4, not so much right now. So I mean, this is really the time when you want to group up. You have Borko always with that Black Hole available. Not too sure what they can do right now, and that's a-okay, but looks like IX Mike's trying his very best. Gets a kill on 2 actually. Gets both the TA as well as that Luna, and now it's gonna be getting on Team Let Me Win. Oh, Sna actually no Spike Carapace to counter. IX Mike now in a bit of trouble. Some nice familiar stun. Soul Assumption to be used, but stays a little bit too long, and Sna able to polish him off with 1 Impale. As that's happening, you actually have Luffy getting caught out by Ush with his bros there, just making sure that he does not get away, and now things starting to turn a little bit sour for EXG. Sna +4 trying his very best, it would seem. Trying their very best, it would seem, to make sure that Borko doesn't get that BKB. He's actually gone not for obviously the BKB or an early blink, knowing that there's just so many ways to counter him, but he's gone for that mechanism. And I mean, EXG, they should really be trying to take these team fights, trying to take these Roshan kills as well, but there's one big problem with that is, despite how good you are at taking those Rosh kills, I should say taking that Rosh very quickly because of the minus armor and extra damage you have coming out of you. You just need to be so careful because of the AoE and team fight spells coming out of Wild Witch Doctors here. Sieves Neves with that big stun, obviously SNA, he has been on point with these Impales. Haven't seen him miss too many, really, and then you just... Static Storm is always absolutely terrifying to go up against. Now it looks like right now would be the time to start stacking up these Ancients for Tagulder. You really do need to start thinking that you're not really far ahead anymore at all. You never really were. I just got a message from Mito. He might show up, actually. Oh, we'll see how it goes. Stay tuned, folks. And now, nice little. You got to get that sentry down. Obviously, you don't want Nyx Assassin coming in, screwing you up, seeing what you can do. And oh yeah, it looks like Mito might be showing up, not too sure exactly what's going on, and we'll inform you. But nonetheless, he might be here for the next game. Fingers crossed, everybody. We do now have, looks like we're gonna be trying to get this top tier 2 going for EXG, and not too sure that there's much that SNA +4 can do. There's no fortification available. Every hero is here. Sna is in here as well. Where is one of those sentries? They gotta put him down. Nice stun on 2 coming out of Sna, and along with IX Mike throwing out that chakram, that's gonna be enough. But of course they do get the tower. Now IX Mike Male Feist gonna be getting stunned one more time. Those familiars just pumping up that reactive armor as much as possible. Nice stun on 2 coming out of this Nyx Assassin now, and it looks like EXG, they realize that they want to take these fights. They have mech and they just smoke and try and get out of there as fast as humanly possible, and with no way to actually catch up to him, they're gonna be doing a-okay. Looks like Ush has finished off his Orchid, however, meaning that pretty much everybody on EXG now has to be incredibly careful, especially someone like Team Let Me Win. He does not want to get revealed here. Looks like they have 30 seconds left onto Black Hole, so probably going to wait around, stall a little bit more until that mech is available as well, until that Black Hole is available. And I mean, it really just feels like Borko needs to go for BKB faster than Blink. Obviously Blink will get you in there, but with just the amount of weight, unless you catch almost every single hero coming out of Sna +4, it's going to be so difficult to actually take those team fights. But I mean, I don't know. They have EXG. They've been playing quite nicely. They get the easy Roche to Gulder now, picks that up. He's getting closer to a BKB, and as soon as that happens, they actually have quite a nice time. You do have Slardar there to throw down that minus armor. He hasn't quite hit level 11 yet. So that, I mean, it's still pretty strong, but it's not as strong, and he's not going to take off as much as you'd want. He also has actually gone for Vanguards, so going for that safer, more you can't kill me build, and while that will give him overall a nice amount of hits, I mean, he's not like he doesn't have an armlet. He's not going to be running in with a huge amount of damage under his wing. And now Ush actually finds a solo kill on Nature's Prophet. He's just been getting reamed by Ush this entire time, but they don't really even seem to care. It looks like EXG just trying their very best to take these mid-game towers, control the map a little bit more. They realize that Sna +4 is a very gank-oriented lineup, and if you don't have that available to you, what do you really have? You can hold out a little bit. You obviously have some nice anti-push out of IX Mike with that Chakram. You have some good anti-push with Static Storm and Kinetic Field coming out of Bry. But beyond that, I mean, you can hope for Nyx Assassin getting some big impales, but you really are all about those ganks, all about those pickoffs, and looks like EXG actually knows it, finding some towers early, trying to make sure that they control the map, control the pace of this game, and doing none too badly right there. You look at this gold graph right now, every single time, so sorry everybody, Nature's Prophet just can never be, whenever I see Nature's Prophet not with his team, I'll just be focused on him, because we know, everybody knows, I know and you know, Ush is going to be hunting him every single time. EXG, though, continue to take these towers. They're just pushing straight in. They know they have the advantage right now with this mech, and it looks now like Sna +4, they realize that they can't defend too well against these big pushes going in. For everybody asking in the chat, EXG is Motivation Sports, or Motivation. They play Dota, Team Motivation. And like I was saying though, Wild Witch Doctors, Sna +4, they realize now that they can't really defend against these tier 2s, so why not take a couple tier 2s themselves? And they're pretty much getting 2 for 1 here. Can't quite take down this mid one very quickly. They are going to have to TP back in short order, however, just to make sure that this high ground and Rax doesn't get taken. But already, no, there is that fortification coming out for EXG. This courier is in a bit of a dicey spot. Doesn't really matter though. Nobody actually TPing in here quite fast enough. Ush is now running in, just throwing down a remnant just to try and get some AoE damage, and it looks like the tower actually gonna fall. Nobody getting here quite fast enough. There is nothing coming out. Steve's knees, big stun, huge stun on 3, can't do too much, stun on 4 I should say, and everybody absolutely melting from EXG. Looks like the Aegis not gonna be able to save to Gulder here, so you get a tower, you get a little bit of high ground. Obviously you have Familiars, Trents, and Nature's Prophet, which makes that pretty scary to deal with, but a full team wipe going the way of SNA +4, and they have got to be enjoying that at the very least. Timbersaw had just gotten that Bloodstone, up to 14 charges from one team fight. Ooh, baby, who's gonna be impossible to kill? It's gonna be this mustachioed man. Excuse me, everybody. Ooh, huge cough. I was also recently sick, so if you ever feel or hear that maybe I'm a little nasally, I'm not quite at my best, that's why.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Ooh, man, nothing better than tap water. And now it looks like, where is it? Where did that Necro go? It's on Visage, yes indeedy, and EXG knows that once this gets into the late game, they just don't feel too safe. Obviously, you do have Luna, but she isn't quite tanky enough, especially when you're up against something like a Storm Spirit. You do have BKB available, which is going to make things quite a lot easier, but as we saw in that last fight, not going to be able to save you at all and by any means, and especially when you have something like Steve's Knees, throwing out that minus armor there. What can you really do against the physical deeps coming out of Steve's Knees as well? And he's actually well on his way to getting his BKB. Obviously Black Hole going to be able to go through all of that. Now it looks like we might have a double smoke gank, one coming from each at the moment. Not too sure. It definitely feels that way. Where it is. Where is that smoke? Doesn't really matter. Either way, it's on these heroes up here by Sna +4, and actually nothing too much else coming out of EXG here. All just grouping up, maybe waiting around for something like a Roshan, but that timer is well away from being anywhere near done. More likely than not, just trying to defend Tugulder from getting ganked and maybe turning any gank they see on its head. However, you do have just Ush pushing in the top lane. He's got with these double null talismans. Ooh, that's a lot of damage going for him, actually. Not too bad by any means, and some pings coming out, just making sure. Now there's smoke going down. They're just trying to rotate around, see if they can't find anybody, and they're just trying to continually protect Tugulder here until maybe he gets his Yasha, but you can't do too much of that, obviously. You need to get Luffy up here to defend the top, and feels like, just like EXG, not too sure what they're doing. Steve's Knees maybe really does want to blink in there. Not too sure if he can see anything, but really does just want to get in there, see if he can't stop some of these ancients being farmed up. And now looks like a failed gank against onto Luffy. Obviously, that soul release would have been the end of him, but now that disruptor being a little bit too greedy, it feels like. And while that's happening, you just have Sna +4 pushing onto the bot lane. It looks like they know the name of the game, a little bit of Rat Dota coming out of Sna +4 right there, and that is really none too bad for them by any means. Trying to turn the tide of this fight. Looks like these stuns not going to be landing. IX Mike now does get slowed, but with Timber Chain always available, unless you get some sort of perfectly timed Lucent Beam to stop it, nothing too much is really going to happen. And I mean, he's always got Timber Chain available in another 4 seconds, so you're really never going to be able to kill this Timber Saw. Now looks like everybody just trying to pay attention to this Roche Pit. They probably think it's going to be quite a big fight coming up, and I mean, they would be right. Ush, though, he's got this Boots of Travel, so he can really put on the pressure in these lanes. Actually, pretty much everybody from Sna 4 can do their job in that respect. Yes, everybody. Wild Witch Doctors is Radiant. They are Sna +4. Your rares are doing okay. Everybody from Dota 2 Lounge. Ooh, baby. Yeah, no, once again, they're just letting Tugulder farm up, maybe try and get that Manta as soon as humanly possible, but they're not really doing too much with the rest of them. Now they have the BKB up on Enigma. That's probably going to be the catalyst for starting to get and starting to go in for these team fights, obviously. Gonna need to be able to use that whenever you can. The smoke now does come down, though. Hits every single person, and it looks like they're going to try and get IX Mike. He is being quite far ahead. Where's that Lucent Beam? He needs a Timber Chain out of this. Oh, and instead does indeed get stunned, and TP's immediately not going to be able to get out of this one, and IX Mike going to be falling to the combined might of EXG or Motivation. But while that's happening, I mean, give absolutely nothing for free. You have this mid tier 2 falling, and I mean, a nice little pickoff for Sna +4. Opens up the map a little bit. They can just go straight onto this high ground. They have an entire lane to cover, or they know that EXG has an entire lane to cover before they're anywhere near there. Every single one of them has a way to get back home, so they're not really too worried about it. And you always have IX Mike available to throw down that Chakram. It is really damning. And now the mass TPs coming in, all on different things. Looks like they can't quite get a Sprout. Borko, obviously no Blink Dagger on him. Not going to be getting too much out of this. Sna might actually fall here, but Chopper getting stunned. There is the Orchid on him. So you're just trading a Nyx Assassin for everybody else getting out of here. Not too bad of a trade by any means. Actually, Roche going to be up fairly shortly in only about 1 minute's time. So not too bad. And it looks like EXG well poised to actually take that as well. You do have Storm. Looks like Ush actually just waiting here. They know he's around here somewhere. They have this trap obviously to make sure and scout out, so not too bad. They gotta know he's around here somewhere, and he actually needs to be quite careful. And now the mass ping's coming out. They know he's up here. What can they really do? However, they need some sprouts. They need some familiars going around there. And Ush, he just needs to hide in these trees a little bit more. It's exactly what he's doing. And really, it's just a little bit of a game of hide and seek. Not too sure what you can really do. They need to Orchid him, obviously. And if Ush gets caught out here, this is going to be a guaranteed Roche as well. Needs to be really careful here and there. Boom! Orchid immediately in a heap of trouble. BKB's out of here as well, along with that TP. No way to actually stun him, and looks like TA not quite in the right position to take him out there. They tried really hard to make sure, but now with that TP down for Storm Spirit and Roshan coming up in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Whew, I mean, this is going to be an easy roast for EXG. And now Storm Spirit right onto Luffy again, and he does not get away. And like I was saying, I'm just going to look at that Nature's Prophet whenever I see him. And actually, we have an invisible SNA. Can he just steal this? Not quite, actually. Maybe wants the cheese. Doesn't get that either. And now he does reveal himself. Unfortunate for him. Just giving up a free kill. Doesn't get anything out of it as well. Maybe stealing some of that experience. Roshan probably does fall underneath that recent experience change where if you're around for it, you'll get a bit of it. But not too sure. We shall see. Oh yeah, of course. Thank you everybody for tuning in. Right there and letting me know, of course, that when I don't have my co-caster helping me clear my thoughts and not be talking all the time, I forget to show the net worth. And of course, at 28 minutes in, once people have almost 200 last hits, it's a little bit better to show that net worth. So, not too bad there. So sorry, everybody, but there you go. Looks like Storm Spirit definitely leading the way. Chopper actually doing fairly nicely as well, but Timbersaw and this Slard are doing their very best as well. You do have now Ush and IX Mike just trying to make sure that EXG is always getting pressured in their lanes, always constantly getting pressured as well. And Ush actually getting a tier 2. Now it's just going to be, they're going straight for the Roche. Can they just stall this long enough? You do have these little illusions pot-shotting away, but it's not going to be the end of the world. Looks like Eclipse does go down with the BKB. The Glaives doing quite a bit of work. Ush, though, right in the back, trying his very best. Borko gets a black hole on 1, it looks like, on the Nyx Assassin. Immediate buyback, nothing too much coming there. They get this Rax, so not too bad going for them so far. EXG trying to do it. They get 1 buyback out of SNA, but that is it so far. Kinetic Field going out. Sna now just pops the Spike Carapace, tries to stun everybody he possibly can. Ush trying to clean up, but now getting stunned himself. The Chakram's falling on with the Ice Mike. Beautiful stun out of Sieves. Neves gets a stun on 3. Looks like Luffy Dota guaranteed to die. Ice Mike cleaning up with everything a Timbersaw can do. The only one who looks like he's going to get out of here alive is Chopper. The Aegis now available. Looks like he doesn't actually have a BKB to try and run this through. Of course, going to be an incredibly quick hero, but not too sure if you can really get it. Need that spike, need that impale coming out of SNA, I should say, but doesn't really matter. Able to clean up anyways, and now Ush turning it on their heads. Those illusions actually appear to have done quite a bit. Buyback now coming out of Enigma. IX Mike just has enough, actually has way more than enough to buy Boots of Travels right there now, and it looks like Borko being way too far forward. Chopper might be able to do whatever he can, can't quite do it. Familiar's not able to save his buddy, and now Ush looks like he wants to continue this fight. Chopper doing a little bit too much damage, however, obviously, and with Refraction, gonna be all that much scared. He needs that Chakram down from IX Mike to eat up those charges. Sieves Neves is now, or 7 Neves is here now as well. Kinetic Field just to try and zone out, maybe get a glimpse back, doesn't really matter. Bry, that is now off, or I should say on cooldown, and it looks like Sna 4 going right for the throat once again. They get 1 laner axe. They gonna really want to, because they need to take these 2 and really force the pressure against EXG. 1 lane against 2, they should be having a much better time. IX Mike just barely, he hasn't lived yet, but man, that Bloodstone is doing quite a bit of work for him, and even more there with the self-deny. Not too bad. Not able to get these 2 lanes of racks, but still really putting EXG back on their heels, and they need to be so careful now. The net worth has just skyrocketed from those 2 engagements with with both teams, obviously, but has just skyrocketed for Wild Witch Doctors, up to 5,000 advantage. Not looking too bad at all. Obviously, 5,000 at 30 minutes, 31 minutes, I should say. Nothing too much happening there, but you do have Ush, who has just picked up his Scythe of Vise. That is a huge pickup for him. It looks like Timbersaw going to be picking up a Shiva's for himself and going to make his life a lot easier. Luffy needs to be so careful here. He's not with his team, and every single time we've seen that happen, oh my god, it just never pans out. SNA doing fine by himself. Where is the detection coming out of EXG now? You shouldn't have it. Luffy, you shouldn't have it. Come. Visage? They have 1 dust. It's a little bit of some reactionary detection. Now they need to be so careful here. IX Mike just streaming in. Doesn't look like we have any sort of smoke in the back by any means. Bry actually has picked up a Blink Dagger, and with Blink Glimpse, oh, the range of Glimpse is just ridiculous. Look at this. It is just astounding. 1,800 cast range. Absolutely ridiculous. And Ush, he's got a haste, he's got Scythe, he's got Orchid. He could basically take any single hero from EXG, and especially someone like Luffy. And actually, that's all he does. He pops the haste, he's going right for him. Boom, across the entire map. Can't quite find him in time, however. Luffy feels it. He knows, I'm not with my team. I'm pretty much guaranteed to die here. SNA, though, scouting out everybody quite nicely. This is really what you want to see, and what makes me pretty happy. And I know my co-caster Mito very happy when he sees a Nyx Assassin this late in the game try and scout out everything for his teammates. Roche not up for another like 3.5 minutes or so, and that's not too bad. EXG trying their very darndest. Luffy actually trying to find pretty much as much farm as humanly possible, but right now that farm chart and this net worth pretty much owned by the cores of SNA +4. Not doing too bad. Luffy fairly ballsy right here as well. Just farming up the enemy jungle doesn't seem to matter, and I don't know, it's getting to be so late that Luna's starting to become a little bit of a problem. Chopper's got a Deso, plus 200, hitting for 300 when Refraction is up, pretty scary. You do have Enigma with BKB, obviously, has only used it once, and that was a black hole on one. Now Luffy, once again, in a heap of trouble. Those familiars there to try and help him, but guaranteed to die here. I'm not too sure what he can do, and actually uses that turnaround to try and silence Ush just to make sure he can't chase him. Doesn't really matter. Unfortunate for Luffy. He is just not... He's just always getting caught out every single time. Sieves Neves trying to check to see if there's any ancient stacks, and I find it a little bit odd that they actually haven't been to Galder with no Helm of the Dominator by any means. They need to know that they're starting to play from behind, at least quite heavily in the experience department. Oh my word. Haven't even looked at that once this time around. 20,000 plus in advantage of SNA +4, and those are heroes that really do like having levels. Timbersaw, of course, not too item dependent. Loves those levels. Storm Spirit, fairly item dependent, but nonetheless, Nyx Assassin not doing too badly by any means, and now they know that Borko's here as well. There's the big zip in, can't quite find him, but of course there's the sheep, or I should say the pig on him right now, and now everybody just backing off. It now looks like we have Nature's Prophet trying to do what a Nature's Prophet does best, is picking up some Necronoms. Got an Orchid Malevolence, obviously, trying his very darndest just to go in and split push. Sieves Neves all over him. Only needs to get one lucky bash to finish him off. And, oh, that Orchid obviously not going to save him. And, man, Luffy is just having the hardest of times. SNA now has a Blink Dagger. You can pretty much set up a kill on any single one of these. Ush, though, where are you, my friend? There you are, into the mid lane. Might have been able to actually zip in on somebody in the mid, but doesn't actually want to do it that way. And now it looks like SNA +4 keeping up the pressure, trying to make sure that EXG gets almost nothing. Nature's Prophet trying his very best to actually go in and get these pushes going and try and make stuff happen with these Necros, but can't really live against most of the heroes coming out of SNA +4. He's actually fairly squishy still with no, like, very few extra points in strength. So still very scary, and now it just looks like SNA going right in, trying to make... Oh, right onto Tagalder, mechanism being used, and then there's a big static storm. Tagalder doesn't actually use BKB by any means, not too sure what's going on, and with Black Hole down as well, dead immediately. BKB used by Chopper just to get out of there, however, not really to man fight. It looks like SNA +4 taking these easy racks. Chopper now getting glimpsed back, and there's the GG. Looks like some little bit of misplays coming on EXG there. Neither... How did Enigma and Luna not use their Black King bars? Either way, that's the victory for SNA +4. They get the first game in this best of 3. So not going too badly. And of course, don't go anywhere, anybody. This has been... It's been a solo cast, but there might be a co-caster next game. I should hope that Mito is back and is feeling better, and I will obviously restart Dota and sort out my microphone problems. But of course, I have been Briefcase, bringing you this solo cast with a very scratchy throat of the ESPL Weekly Series number 6. Don't go anywhere, anybody. I know you're gonna want to see what happens to your rares and keys. So. Please just stay and have fun.